Hi, I'm Jenny from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Take a look at this great quilt behind me. What's so cool about this is that this is a variation on Summer in the Park. Summer in the Park is a quilt that we tutorialed quite a while ago, and gosh, it's so awesome. Everybody loves it, but there's so many things you can do with it. Summer in the Park is made with opposite strip sets, so you would have 2 light ones and a dark one, and 2 dark ones and a light one. You sew them together and you cut your blocks out of that. We also did a tutorial on the honey bun Summer in the Park, and that's made with little thin strips and a wide strip and little thin strips, but they're mirrored. Each side is identical. So this one is done the same way, but just with a little bit of variation. So to make this quilt, you're going to need a jelly roll and 3 yards of background fabric. That's this fabric here. And you want it to coordinate and look nice. The jelly roll we've chosen for this quilt is called Serena. It's by Wyndham Fabrics and by Another Point of View. And it's just gorgeous. You guys know how I feel about blue and white, and it's just beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 3 strips. We're going to open up this jelly roll. That's the hardest part. And we're going to divide it into 3 strips. And I like to kind of keep them, you know, light, medium, and dark, and, you know, mix up my colors. So we're going to sew 3 strips together. To do that, you're just going to lay 2 strips right sides together, so 1/4 inch, press it open, then add 1 to the other side. Again, just 1/4 inch and press it open, and you'll get this strip set that's just like this. And you're going to do that with all of your strips, your whole jelly roll strip. Once you get this sewn together, you're going to measure how tall this is. And this one happens to be about 6.5 inches. Then you're going to cut a piece of background fabric to put on the top. And we are going to sew this together on both sides, 1/4 inch on this side and 1/4 inch on this side. And we are going to make a tube. It's going to be completely enclosed. So let's go to the sewing machine and do that. All right, I'm just lining these up and sewing 1/4 inch down the side. I just have to keep checking and make sure these are lined up over here. We're almost to the end. All right, there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to make this long strip set into blocks. And the key to that is having a square ruler that has a 45 line that goes right across the middle of it. The 45 is what's important on this, not any other measurement, just that 45 line. Because we're going to lay our 45 line on the stitch line, not the edge. So you can see right here, it's sticking up above where this 45 line is, and that's where we want it to be. We want it to be on the stitch line, not the edge. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this excess right here. And then I'm going to take my ruler and I'm just going to slide it down to the other side. Again, lining it up with the stitch line. That's the only thing we're worried about here, is lining it up with the stitch line. So then we're going to cut this up here like this. We'll scoot this away. And then this will then slide back up to the top. We'll keep this straight, line it up. This has to line up on the edge of there, and then this lines up on your stitch line. And we're just going to cut these squares like this, or these what looks like triangles. And I'm going to go ahead and cut this whole strip for you. So here we go. We're going to slide up, keeping our 45 on the stitch line, just like that, and cutting. And bringing that down. There we go. Putting that 45 on the stitch line. Make sure that's on that stitch line. Like that. And coming up, I think we're going to get one more out of here. Line up on the stitch line. So now I've cut the entire strip up, and you get 6 of these blocks, and what you're going to get is a block that's stripped on one side and solid on the other. And so let's iron these open. And this is really a fun quilt because what you're doing is you're sewing straight blocks together, but they come out looking like you've spent a lot of time setting them on point. Now, a block that is set on point means that instead of sitting square, it's going to sit diagonally so that its points are up and down like this. This is on point when the point comes up like this. And usually when you make these quilts, you have to sew them in rows down like this. But because of how our blocks go together, which you're going to see right here, we're going to put them together this way. So we'll match 4 of them like this. Look how cool that is. You get a block that's set on point, which means, you know, the point is up and down, versus putting a block together where your squares are lined up. Now, because this is a half square triangle right here, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. Anything you can do with a half square triangle, you can also do with this block. But we've set these together so they're a square and a square like this. And let me mix them up a little bit. Like that. Remember, you're only getting 6 out of a strip, so you want to be sure that you mix them up because you're not going to get enough of everything to make everything match. So I would cut my whole strip set and have all those blocks and just mix them together and put them together in a block of 4 like this. So then to make this quilt, you have 5 blocks, big blocks like this across, and you have, let's see, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Oh, I'm sorry, 4 across and 5 down. And that just makes an awesome quilt. So to sew this together, you're just going to do it like a 4-patch. You're going to lay them so they come right together. All these little seams should match up. And if you have any trouble with that, we have the benefit of the bias on here. So let me go ahead and sew these together to show you how the block goes together. So I'm going to sew these 2 sides like this. Make sure I'm in the right spot down there. And as I'm coming down the side of my block, I just lift up this fabric to make sure I'm lined up with the piece that's across from it. So they stay together. And then line this one up down here. And then we're going to do the next one. So same way, here we go. Oh, you know what? I'm going to open this up and make sure that mine are going the right direction so that I don't have, there we go, this way and that way. We don't want to have to rip, so we want to make sure they're going in the right direction. All right, let me sew this one together. And I just peek under there to make sure those are lined up. Sew across. Again, peek under there to make sure they're lined up. And come on down. Come down the home stretch. There we are. Now we can lay these 2 together like this. And again, we just sew it like a 4-patch. And because we have all these little seams all along here, it just lines up so nicely because you can check all the time to make sure things are right together. You can iron that ahead of time if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and sew this and then iron the block all at once. There we go. And our last little bit down here. So once you get 4 of these together, like this, this is how I put the quilt together, is I go ahead and I sew four of these together and I make big blocks, like big block sets like this. I like to iron from the top first to make sure there's no folds. And then I just flip it over and make my seams lay down the way I want them to. All right. So this is the block you get, and it's just adorable. But the really fun thing is just by changing the number of strips you use, it changes the size of the block. So you can do 4 strips or 5 strips. On this table runner right here, I used 2 strips, and I sewed 2 strips together, sewed my piece of fabric across the top. I made 2 sets of those, and with that I got these 6 blocks right here to make this beautiful table runner. And I just think this is a really fun way to get a lot of variation very quickly. So we hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the Summer in the Park variation from the Missouri Star Quilt Company. Wait, I had to get my lipstick on. I'm coming. Here we go. I'm ready. All right.